Hey everybody, welcome back to those of you who are used to the show. Welcome in to those who are not. We are garden casting, I think, for the first time this summer. It's much nicer out here now. I know there's a lot of people who have tuned in and said, your audio was great. I wonder what your backdrop looks like. Yeah, it's different all the time. So welcome back to the garden. It's changed. It's nice. There's shade. Recent events have me pondering something that I think tracks back to feminism. I honestly believe that feminism was the beginning of the end for the West. The more I read and the more I think about it, the West has a massive problem with being short-sighted. We have TikTok brain. We're selfish. We don't think about society, the greater good, future generations anymore. We're a very self-focused several generations. Okay, the boomers were really bad. I've ragged on the boomers probably enough. You all know my feelings. Tucker Carlson and I are on a pretty similar track with boomers. But the short-sighted and selfish situation in which we find ourselves is creating some rather long-term problems, and it's been going on for quite some time, and I'm just seeing it more and more. So I figured I'd address it today. So welcome back to the Green Egg Girl podcast. I've talked about this before. Innocent until proven guilty. Okay? You have to give people the innocent until proven guilty stance in the court of law. The media has turned it into guilty forever. And I think this all started with feminism. And here's why. So we've gone over the occult practices, all of that. The women involved in the beginning of feminism, it was all for selfish gain. It was not for the good of women. The majority of women had zero interest in it. As Rachel Wilson covered in her book, they had to ban women from the vote for the right to vote because women didn't want it. And they actually stated everything that's occurring now as part of the reason. But the founders of feminism, the women founders of feminism, and the men as well, but mainly the women, were just selfish. They wanted what they wanted. And you see that repeating today in feminism. We'll abort a baby for our good. It's for our good. No thought to the future generation that you're carrying. You just tear it apart. And that selfishness has been just infused into society and is dragging it down to the point where we're no longer societies who believe in innocent until proven guilty. One of the biggest ones as of late is in the UK. The bias is so far in immigrants' favor that a British man bled to death on the road while being handcuffed because the police have been trained to believe one group of people over another no matter the circumstance. Racism is a larger crime than murder at this point in the UK. In the US, we're not really even getting fair trials. Everybody decided that Justice Kavanaugh was guilty. Hashtag me too, guys. This has been going on for far too long. So Me Too kicked off in like 2015 and really reached some wild peaks and has just allowed the guilty upon accusation to become the norm. And women are kind of dumb, sorry, no offense. The women that go along with this, like, you're so brainwashed into your occult practice, like, I don't even think you understand what you're doing. The majority of women, and I actually do believe it was the majority of women, kind of looked at the Me Too thing and went, no, we don't really just believe all women because we are women and we know. And I rejected it immediately. It didn't make any sense. I saw girls posting just like the dumbest stories known to man. And I thought, why are we just blatantly believing all women? We don't just blatantly believe all men. We have a justice system. We have a legal system in this country for a reason. And a huge part of it, my generation, if you're, in your mid-30s, you should know this. The lacrosse scandal back in the day. Several members of a lacrosse team were accused of having raped a woman, young woman, we'll go with young woman, and 20 years later, she got on television and said, I made the whole thing up. I was just jealous. So some of us understood this situation going in and knew, there are men who commit suicide over these things. They can't outrun these situations, and women just make accusations because, well, in general, we're kind of just catty bitches. So the hashtag Me Too thing just added terrible, terrible levels of this to our society. And it's gotten to the point now where if the media tells you someone's guilty, you just assume it before there's even a trial. And then you're not watching the trial to see if it's actually a fair trial, if it's being reported on fairly. So I'm watching Tyler Robinson from the outside looking in, and I'm going, a whole bunch of influencers just came out and lied about what happened in a courtroom. Because when you watch what the judge said, you watch all of the questions asked, there's not a single thing in 4K on that campus, except for the Turning Point USA cameras. None of that footage showed up. So I'm watching these things and understanding that, the lone shooter on the hill in the JFK situation has been completely debunked. There's nothing to believe about RFK. And then there's Charlie Kirk, and there's all of these cases. And these are just the really highly publicized cases. How many men are just getting obliterated behind the scenes because there's now been a precedent set going forward in our society that women can just wreck men? I worked in a factory for years. I watched women just wreck men over baseless bullshit in divorce proceedings, taking their kids, taking their income, and leaving them because they worked too much to provide for the family because the women wanted things, and now what? There's big high-profile cases, and if you don't actually, do your own research and look into any of the legal documents and what is actually going on and taking the time to really use your brain, you're just trusting media personalities. It's a really dangerous spot to find your country in. Innocent until proven guilty, you can be mad about somebody of a high profile all day long. But if they go down for something that you didn't actually pay attention, you didn't actually read any of what's gone on, you didn't look any deeper than what the media or someone you trust tells you, then all of a sudden, innocent till proven guilty starts to disappear. And then what's going to happen to you? What's going to happen to your sons? What's going to happen to your grandsons? What's going to happen to the future generations of this country when we've obliterated our legal system because we believe the media? We believe all women. like I said, I think this started with feminism. I honestly believe that men tend to be more future focused, more family focused. They think more down the line. But I'm seeing men who have just been cowed for decades with just propaganda and women beating the crap out of them, starting to side with the guilty in the court of public opinion. If we're just deciding guilty in the court of public opinion, Kyle Rittenhouse is a great example. Kyle Rittenhouse was completely, it was ruled everything was self-defense. The kid didn't do anything wrong. To this day, I see his comment sections on X, and I don't care what he's talking about. He's called a murderer because the court of public opinion decided, and then they decided not to trust the judicial system. Do you see how this is backwards? We no longer have a judicial system we can trust, because if it doesn't align with the media narrative, whole groups of media believing people don't believe it. If you're actually reading the legal documents and everything and it goes the media's way, all the people who believe the media are like, yeah, justice. And all the people who read it are going, what world are we living in? What are we going to do? What are our kids going to do? I'm concerned about future generations. I come from a family who has always been concerned about future generations. There are not very many selfish people in my family, and those who aren't really part of it. They're not really included with us because, man, they throw you under the bus in a heartbeat, and that's just not how we jive in our family. We very much care about our family, the future for, my future children, my sister's future children, my brother's child. Like, there's all of these things that we need to be concerned about, and we're looking at the future. And we've just had like a century of selfish women practicing occult rituals all the way through, getting into the school systems, brainwashing people into this selfish, self-focused, TikTok-brained mentality. Because no one has an attention span longer than a gnat, because no one wants to do the hard thing, do the due diligence of going and actually reading the legal documents and watching what's going on in court proceedings and really paying attention. It's so easy to just be like, oh, well, I trust this person. They built trust with me a long time ago, and I just believe them. That shouldn't be a thing. You can't live life like that, because future generations are going to be screwed. Okay, I used to listen to Ben Shapiro. Mr. Facts don't care about your feelings. Well, it turns out facts don't care about the goy's feelings. But when it comes to the elites, and Ben Shapiro's part of that class, when it comes to the elites, well, facts just don't matter. It's all feelings. Okay? And it's a very feminist, occult, ugh. So feminism has just pervaded our society and made it so obscenely selfish and self-focused and short attention span that we're no longer worried about future generations. We live in a society of guilty by the court of public opinion and everything else be damned. And that scares the crap out of me. Wake up. We have got to start thinking about the future. We have got to start thinking about future generations and what is going to make society last for longer than 30 seconds. We have an entire generation of boomers who are starting to reach the end stage of their lives. And they've been so selfish that they've crashed economies, gotten us into endless wars, everything to their benefit, and they'll believe anything the media tells them. Do we really want to continue living like that forever? Because the feminists are trying to keep that mentality going forever. They sit here, and I don't care if they profess to be conservative, they profess all kinds of things. You act like a feminist, you're a feminist. You will know them by their fruits. We can see you. I don't care if you pretend to be a church girl. I don't care what you pretend to be. If you're out here acting like a feminist, we know what you are. You're practicing an occult religion. You will not convince me otherwise. I'm watching it happen in real time. And I am very deeply concerned for the future of Western civilization, for anything associated with feminism, because it's tanking our entire future. It's homicidal. It's suicidal. And it's putting good men away for crimes they didn't commit. It's snatching them off the streets. And you can sit and you can be mad, okay? You could not have liked Charlie Kirk. You cannot have liked the Tate brothers. You cannot like Tyler Robinson. You cannot like anybody, Harvey Weinstein. You cannot like all of these people. But if they're not getting a fair trial and we're just convicting them in the court of public opinion, believe me when I say, in the future, the precedent will be set and your children will not be safe. I have great concern about the future for any Western civilized country. We're on a dark path, and we need to take an exit ramp. We have to stop believing that someone is guilty because the court of public opinion says so. Innocent until proven guilty. Read some court filings. Read what's going on. Understand the legal system. You have the right to defend yourself against an accuser. If you are not being presented with an accuser, what are you faced with? Bullshit. You can't mount a defense without having what is convicting you to look at. Wake up. Care about your future generations. Because I care about mine. And I don't want mine to just be wrecked because someone at some point is going to say something and my son may go down for something he didn't do. His entire life could be destroyed for something he didn't do. We have to get off of this train because it's barreling towards a cliff that is the end of the West. We have to reject feminism and these occult bullshit religions that are out here driving us off a cliff. Stop hating your own skin color. Stop allowing them to divide you. Stop just listening to the media, hook, line, and sinker. Wake up. Do some research. We live in a day and age where anything you want to know, you can learn. Don't just trust an AI bot. Get some books. Read some things. Go find things that are open to the public. Okay? Public records exist. Go look deeper into things. Question your stance on what you believe. Question everything. Go look into things yourself. I'm not sitting here saying, trust me, bro. I'm sitting here saying, hey, this is what I'm reading, this is what I'm seeing, these are the conclusions I'm drawing. Go do some research, because I have a feeling when you do, you'll end up here. Care about your children. Care about your grandchildren. Care about the future. If you're so self-focused, you're willing to obliterate the rest of society and humanity, okay. But you're pushing the reasonable people past the brink. Wake up, guys. We want a future. Our ancestors fought for something. They fought for better lives for us. They fought and died so you could live. And I don't care what country you're from. That's the truth. I don't care what your heritage is. People fought and died so you got to be alive. And you can't give a lick about anything past tomorrow because they're guilty, guys. The news told me that they're guilty. A whole collection of people came together and said these guys are guilty. They're saying he's guilty of everything they're saying. I'm sorry, I don't believe all women. I don't believe all men. I don't believe all media personalities. I don't blatantly agree with anyone on every subject ever. I just don't. Even the people I listen to regularly, there are things that I'm not convinced of. My brain is open. I'm open to new information that can prove what I'm being told is wrong. That's how you need to live your life. That is a future-minded place to be. Do not let some crazy occultists who started all of this shit a century ago destroy everything that has been built in the West. Everybody's at varying degrees on how bad this is getting. Please go look at other countries and what's going on and what people are being arrested for. Look at the death toll in Canada. There's varying degrees of how this is going, guys. The information's out there. Go listen to people who challenge your worldview. I do it daily. But we have got to stop living for the next 10 seconds and start understanding that there's supposed to be generations after us, and that probably won't happen. They won't be free. They won't be allowed to say anything out loud. Because we're so selfish now. I hope this makes you think. At the very least, you cannot act on any of it, but I hope it turns in your brain and makes you think through some things you've been convinced of. We need better society. We need a better future, because the one we're looking down the barrel of right now is pretty bleak outside of knowing that Jesus wins in the end. Ponder on this. Know that this is not a black pill. This is just to open your eyes. No matter what, Jesus wins in the end. Like the white pill's there's hope. I want this to wake people up so that you know that there's hope. There's other people out here who are looking at the situation. There's other people out here that if you're going through something, if you're being accused of something you didn't do, there's people like me who just don't flat believe everybody. We want to know facts. There's hope because there's more and more people waking up to, we need more facts. We aren't just going to jump to a conclusion and be like, yeah, oh, they said it, so it's true. That's the direction we need to keep moving, and we need more people to wake up to it. So I'm hearing thunder. I'm going to cut this off before it arrives. I hope you all have a fantastic week ahead. Hope you had an all right Monday. I'll talk at you next time.